Into AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheikh. 6 districts in Selangor will be under the movement control order starting Thursday. And how can SMEs and the retail sector prepare to face stricter measures as COVID-19 cases surge? That's coming up. Six districts in Selangor will be under the movement control order starting Thursday to May 17, following several days of high COVID-19 infections in the state. The affected districts are Hulu Langat, Petaling, Gombak, Kelang, Kuala Langat and Sepang. Meanwhile, the other districts still under the conditional MCO are Kuala Selangor, Sabak Bernam and Hulu Selangor. Senior Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said interstate and inter-district travel will not be allowed. Ramadan bazaars are allowed to operate under the MCO provided that visitors and traders follow strict SOPs. However, other social activities are prohibited. Hari Raya Aidilfitri visits are limited to 15 people per house on the first day in MCO areas, while Raya open houses are not allowed this year. The surge in COVID-19 cases in Malaysia is worrying small and medium enterprises. The association president, Datuk Michael Kang, said businesses that have yet to digitalize must do so quick in order to survive the next wave of disruption arising from COVID-19.
I think for SME, the most important, they have to prepare themselves to face all the challenges, so that to reduce the operating expenditures and at the same time to adopt the technology. They're very important. The SME have to adopt technology to able to work from home, able to use the technology like what just mentioned, that even to control the COVID-19 spread, we have to use technology. So to rely on the technology to monitor, to trade, even in businesses also the same thing. We have to go online, go to the net, to make sure the business still continue able to run, to make sure they can protect their staff and also at the same time to protect their own business. They're able to move forward. This is very important.
He also urged the government to structure a targeted approach to control the spread of the virus, but at the same time allow for SMEs to operate.
The most important, not only the people, I think the businesses also had to follow. The government themselves had to follow. That's why I emphasize on that. Government should use the technology, use the apps, use the handphone. Everyone have the handphone to monitor, to trace the patient, the people who movement around, even include the cross-stake or to go out consume, to buy things, and doing business meeting, all those, they must have the SOP. Everyone had to scan my etc. And also, if there's any case, that everyone will be able to receive the information that there is a case, there is a possibility, there is a case happen at the premises or somewhere hotspot, so that the people will take more precautions on that, so that the COVID-19 will be able to control.
The rise in the number of daily COVID-19 cases proves that the country's standard operating procedures needs to be reassessed. What would be the best policies for the often crowded places like malls? Bumiputra Retailer Organisation President Dato' Amir Ali Maidin shares his take on the matter.
We have noticed that there are certain sectors where SOPs are not being complied with. For example, we noticed in dining. Although very clearly dining, the government is given very clear and the government has been very flexible in saying that number of people is okay, but 1 meter social distancing on every table. But obviously, we have seen almost 90% non-compliant. I think all of us go out dining, we notice 90% non-compliant. So I hate to say this, but seriously, end of the day, I would suggest that the government only allow 2 people to dine on 1 table, irrespective of the size of the table. So what we'll have to do for restaurants, we'll have to get a smaller table. Those with, say, Chinese restaurant normally have a big round table for 10 people. Either only 2 people go for that table. It doesn't seem logical, but I think we don't have a choice here.
He said the government must focus on how to reduce the capacity of each retail shop instead of forcing businesses to close.
What our neighboring country has done, Singapore, lately, is that instead of using a multi-factor of 10, I'm told they use a multi-factor of 0.8. So instead of saying 10, only 8. So instead of 1,000, only 800 people. This is the way the government can control capacity. There's no other way. And currently what is required by the SOP is that we are required to put up the maximum number of people allowed in a space. So if you come to a Maidin mall, you will notice that then we put a space, only 500 people allowed in this particular mall. And then some certain places, they give numbers, which are sometimes not very practical because people don't give you back numbers, so that could not be practical. But I think that's the best thing we can do. Reduce capacity, but don't shut it down.
The current guidelines by the government allows 1 person per square meter, which means 1,000 people would be allowed in a 10,000 square meter shopping centre at any one time. Yesterday's coverage of World Press Freedom Day explored policy recommendations for the government to better improve the state of press freedom in the country. What about the media industry as well as the general public? How can collaboration be made to advocate for better press freedom in the country? Ding Joanne, advisor from Centre for Independent Journalism, weighs in.
Now, when it comes to the industry, now during the time when we were getting ready under the PH government to implement the Media Council, for a brief moment in time, we were all working together towards this one goal. So whether it was print, online, broadcast, media NGOs like CIJ, journalist associations, whether you are BN-owned or PN-friendly, we all came together to work together for a more independent and more ethical media. So we know it is possible for all of us to get along and work together towards a common goal. And I hope we can do that again, whichever government is in power. For the public, I hope that they are aware of the importance of good journalism to keep them informed and to keep their government in check. Now, as much as I know the public like reading news on social media or WhatsApp, they must also know that it is important to know which are the good, credible sites that they can go to with fact-checked and verified news. So I hope they realize that oftentimes you have to pay for good journalism. Just like they used to pay RM1 a day for their local paper, you need to be prepared now to pay and subscribe for news that you consume online to support the journalists, the editors, and the staff who run these newsrooms. And we also need to be more media literate as a public, and we need to educate ourselves about the difference between good journalism, which is fact-checked, and misinformation and even disinformation that is spread on social media and other channels.
The government should consider implementing a windfall tax on industries that benefit greatly from the COVID-19 crisis, according to Khazanah Research Institute Senior Advisor Dr. Jomo Kwame Sundaram. He suggested this at a panel discussion held in conjunction with the World Bank Group's webinar titled Aiming High, Promoting Inclusion and Financing Shared Prosperity today. Asked when is the right time to reintroduce the goods and services tax, Jomo opined that now is the best time to introduce taxes that do not generate revenue immediately, as many were badly impacted by the pandemic. He added that we should not generate revenue from taxes in the middle of a crisis. The Finance Ministry told the Dewan Negara in December last year that the government had no plans to impose a windfall profit levy on rubber glove manufacturers, which had been enjoying supernormal profits from the higher demand and selling price of rubber gloves worldwide, and other businesses that have profited greatly due to the pandemic. 20 women MPs from across the political divide have come together to urge Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin to make schools a safer place from sexual harassment. The MPs say they have written a letter to Muhyiddin to voice their concern on the rape joke case exposed by 70-year-old student Ain Husniza against a male teacher and rape threats from her classmate. In the letter, the MPs urged the government to have a serious attitude, be caring and to take care of complaints by handling the issue immediately. They also demanded that Muhyiddin gives his commitment in ensuring the safety of students in school. The list of 20 MPs included Dewan Rakyat Deputy Speaker Datuk Sri Azalina Othman Said, Tourism Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri, former Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail and her former Deputy Hannah Yeoh. We'll take a short break. Stay with us.
Untuk memastikan Malaysia ada ke depan dan maju. Induknya adalah Melayu.
Balik kepada orang yang membuat polisi.
Kalau itu yang dikehendaki, fine. Mungkin kita berbeza pandangan.
Tapi kita mempunyai kuasa yang boleh menentukan budaya di masa hadapan.
Welcome back. Astro, Malaysia Holdings Berhad and the Walt Disney Company will be launching streaming platform called Disney Plus Hotstar on June 1st. In announcing the collaboration, the company said viewers can enjoy content from several providers, including Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, the National Geographic, as well as a wide array of entertainment series and films through the streaming service. Disney Plus Hotstar will be available to its Movies Pack customers for an additional RM5 per month, while its non-Movies Pack customers may access the streaming service via other bundles. From today onwards, customers can sign up for the Movies Pack bundle that comes with Disney Plus Hotstar. Consumers can also subscribe directly to Disney Plus Hotstar for RM54.90 for 3 months. Meanwhile, Astro said the streaming service is working towards making it available via its Ultra and Ulti connected boxes later this year. Astro Group Chief Executive Officer Henry Tan said Astro's customers deserve great entertainment and the addition of Disney Plus Hotstar with the group's much-loved hits, local signatures and unparalleled spots that would delight customers. Astro, he added, will be aggregating subscription-based video-on-demand streaming services, giving customers the widest variety of entertainment to choose from. At least 20 people were killed and dozens injured after a metro overpass collapsed in Mexico City. The incident happened while a train was travelling on it. Videos on local television and social media showed train carriages suspended mid-air. At least 70 people were injured. There are fears that the death toll could rise further as some people may still be trapped under the rubble. The Mexico City Metro, one of the largest and busiest in the world, has had at least 2 serious accidents since its inauguration half a century ago. A Japanese journalist in Myanmar has been charged with spreading fake news. Yuki Kitazumi is the first foreign journalist to be charged since Myanmar's military staged a coup in February. Kitazumi, who was working as a freelance journalist, had been reporting for many of Japan's major news outlets. The 45-year-old was arrested in April. He has been in prison since. If found guilty, Kitazumi faces up to 3 years in prison. More than 700 people have been killed and thousands detained in Myanmar, including many local journalists. India today confirmed more than 20 million COVID-19 infections, becoming the second nation after the United States to pass the grim milestone. However, the actual cases and death toll are feared to be much higher than reported. A vicious surge in COVID-19 cases has left the country's healthcare system at a breaking point, with hospitals running out of oxygen and nearly all hospital beds occupied. According to WHO, the highly infectious Indian variant could snowball into a global problem. It has already spread to at least 17 countries. Indian opposition leader Rahul Gandhi has called for a nationwide lockdown. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government is reluctant to impose a lockdown due to the economic fallout. Sunday's AstraZeneca vaccine opt-in system was a unique opportunity to test public responsiveness to a parallel rollout. What was discovered? Tonight on Consider This, we speak to experts on how they interpret the policy rationale and the success of this move. That is all we have for you on AWANI Tonight. Get the latest news update on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro Awani app. I'm Farhana Sheikh. We'll see you again.